Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. We did tell you that, on Fridays, we love to just take it nice and slow. We do most family issues and entertainment, like they'll say, soft life issues, just to help you start your weekend on a relaxing note. And today on the program, we'll be taking a look at one of the many issues that again, is on the increase in the society at the moment. Sometimes not because of your own personal doing, but sometimes life just, deals you a blow and you find yourself living in this condition. And so today we'll be sharing the experience of somebody who is in that space, and then also help us understand what life is, in that space, and how to deal with it if you ever find yourself in that situation. So today we'll be chatting with Olayinka Olejia, who is a fashion enthusiast, and we'll be talking about life as a single mom. Thank you, Olayinka, for being here on the program today.
Thank you.
Right, let's start this way. And life as a single mom, does life ever prepare one to be a single mom?
Not exactly.
So when you say not exactly,
well, personally, I wasn't prepared for it.
Okay,
but recently I noticed some people just want to be a single mom.
We just said that's, yeah.
Some few days ago, I was discussing with a group of friends, and, people were sharing their own personal experiences and all that. And I remember someone saying, I said, most of us are victim of circumstance, and I remember someone saying that, no, it's not like that, blah, blah, blah. Most in this part of the world, we like to attach meaning to so many things, I didn't get pregnant until I was 32, and back in the day, for 32, you're already stigmatized as...
You're not even married.
You're not even married. I remember I had my son in a teaching hospital, and when those nurses come out to call us out, for antenatal, they'll be like, above 30, move to this side.
Even in the hospital, there was this already stigmatization.
So it was quite embarrassing, and I remember a lot of people would tell me, don't go out, don't come out, you don't have a husband, there's no ring on it, and stuff like that. So the stigma, it's there. But recently I noticed the so-called Gen Zs, they flaunt. They don't mind, they don't care. Sometimes I'm still a bit conservative about the whole issue. Right. At family gatherings, you still hide your face, from people and all that. But the so-called Gen Zs,
they don't care. They're all for it. They're all for it.
They prepare for it.
They prepare for it. I think that's the difference.
Yes, they prepare
They
for
are
it.
game. It's a life.
They don't mind.
They don't mind. So it's something that they
I've seen a group of girls tell me, oh, there's a sperm donor, they could just walk in and buy. What's the point? Why do you want to, so...
Why do you want to get married?
Yes.
So for them, it's a whole... I just wanted us to start on that note by saying that does life really prepare one for it? So
yes.
Now it looks like generation by generation is becoming a little bit different.
Yes.
If this generation are actually working towards wanting to live as a single mom, for them,
yes.
It's just a way of life, and
exactly.
then they can go ahead with it. But some will also say that life as a single mom can be both rewarding and it could also be a challenge. For you, where do you stand?
Okay, let me start with the rewarding part. I have my son. Yeah, I think that's rewarding, I think that's the rewarding part.
Okay.
I wake up, at least I have someone else, another human being I'm responsible for.
Right.
So I think that's the rewarding part for me. But the challenge is, they can be very overwhelming.
Quite overwhelming.
Quite overwhelming, It's tough.
Right.
To be a single mom in this day and age.
Right. So when you say it's tough, tough economically, tough financially, tough emotionally, let's break them down. Okay,
let's break them down. Let's talk financially. You look at school fees, you look at feeding. Don't let us go to clothing. Let's focus on the important things. Education. You want your child to stand out.
Right.
You don't want the child to lack anything. So financially, it can be very draining, as in it drains you. Then let's look at the emotional part. You're depriving. For me, sometimes I feel I'm depriving the boy of having a family. You know, I live with my parents. I had to go back to my house, you know, and my son has my own family, you know. So sometimes I try to engage him that, oh, how do you feel? You know, especially when his cousins are talking about their fathers and, you know, and they would. So most times I feel for him.
Right.
You know, I feel.
How old is your son, by
He's
the
14.
way? He's 14.
Yes, you know, most times I feel. I remember we were on a trip last year and someone asked about my cousin's dads, and you know, they talked about their dad, and it was my turn, and one of them just said, we don't know his father.
Oh, wow.
We don't know his father, you know. And the next thing, he's a very sharp person, you know, very outspoken, and the next thing was, you can't know my father. I don't even know my father.
Oh,
so
wow.
how would you
know who I don't know?
You know, so I felt it
At that time.
at that time, and it was painful for me, you know. And most times I always like, I would love to give this boy, you know, a father figure, somebody he can call his own dad and all that. So
so that's the emotional part.
Yes.
But do you talk to him about his dad? Do you have cause to discuss about his dad?
Not really.
And he doesn't bother you?
He did. A few years back, in short, I think that was the most painful experience I've ever had in my life. Okay, I got him from school, and immediately we came down from the bike. And it was like, he calls me my name.
Okay.
You know, because he's a bit special, you know.
Okay.
So he said, Yinka, there's something I would like to discuss with you, and promise me you'll not be upset. Okay. So I asked, I said, what exactly? I said, you have to promise first. So I said, okay, I promise. And the next thing was, I'd like to go to my daddy's house. And to be honest, at that point, I had fever. You know, I had shiver all over, goosebumps from my head to my toe. And the first question I asked was, did anybody talk about your daddy in school? Did any of your friends insult you? You know, because that's the first thing that will come to mind. You know, so he said, no, I just would really like to go to my daddy's house. So I got into my house. My mom was outside and she was like, what happened? You know, I was close to tears because I give him everything. You know, so I got home and my mom was like, what happened? I said, don't worry, I need to go out. So I went to my stylist. You know, I have like a shop I hang out most times when I'm not busy. So my stylist, she's from Togo. She was like, what happened, mommy? I said, this boy said he's going to. And I just broke down, cried. And the lady was like, what is going to ask? I said, but I didn't expect him to. So at that point, so I got home that night and I explained to him that, look, I don't know what your daddy is thinking right now, but your daddy didn't want you. And I feel right now I'm your dad, I'm your mom. You know, I really don't know if you understood me at that point. But I felt, to some extent,
were you ever prepared for that? Did you ever think that day would come, that he would ask for his dad? And were you prepared for all of the answers you were going to give to him?
I wasn't, because, like I said, he has special needs. So I think I didn't...
You didn't think he was going to get to that level?
Yes.
Right.
But I know a lot of kids usually do that. A friend of mine, her son actually left immediately after WAEC to go look for his father.
Did he know where to go look?
He searched for him on Facebook. Wow. So he went. And I remember my friend was devastated. She lost it. We searched for this boy. But fortunately and unfortunately, he came back 2 days after and he didn't open up. He told me that my dad told me that he didn't want me and he still doesn't. Wow. So...
But did that give him that closure he wanted?
I think so. I think so. So when I heard that, I think it's something at the back of my head told me, mine might still do that. So when my son actually did it, was painful.
It was painful. It was painful.
Yes.
But did that ignite anything in you to probably also want to, because again, you said something earlier, you give him everything. And so you didn't think he was going to ever ask for his dad.
No.
But then did that jolt you to reality? That
Yes,
at some
it did.
point in time.
Yes, he actually woke me up.
Right.
He woke the dead part of me, because I was the outgoing, the jovial, you can call me the life of the party. My friends call me Olori Ebi, some call me organizer. In short, yesterday my cousin called me human Alexa. That is me. I'm not the, but immediately I had my son.
You locked up.
That part of me. In short, a friend of mine called me one day and she was like, how come I don't see you on TV? How come I don't see you on shows? And I'm like, why will I be on shows? I have a child. And she was like, you need to come out of. So that woke me up immediately, and I started
spreading.
Immediately.
Okay.
Started doing a little bit of, most times I don't like to leave him. Most times I don't even travel because of him, and immediately he did that. I told my friend, I said, please invite me to parties. I need to.
Because it looks like what I was running from has finally come.
Because I've experienced a lot of those things in the past. Like, I have family members that went to look for their dads, but I didn't know mine was going to do that, So, and this computer age, you could just
Pop up
searching.
and start searching.
So,
are you fully prepared now that, if he asked you again, are you ready to open up to him or allow him take a leap?
Why not? I told someone some days ago that if my son should wake me up that he wants to go and his father is willing to accept him, why not?
Why not?
I'll do that.
Okay. Adebimpe, you were going to ask a question. Oh, no, you're still in your world. Okay. Okay, that...
Yes, I want to ask a question, and I want to add to what she is saying. Children will always be children.
Oh,
they're always curious.
Yes.
I don't want you to feel bad that he's asking after his dad, because like the other boy did, he can just wake up one day and leave.
Exactly.
So that is just my own contribution. Then the question now is, why did you lock up, after having your child? Did you feel bad because you didn't have the male figure or the husband or the father? I don't know what to call him in all of this. Were you ashamed that you were a single mother?
It wasn't shame. I think it was just disappointment in myself. Like I said, I was the Yoruba will call it Wakulumo. That is me.
Right.
But immediately, in short, from the pregnancy, I started feeling as if I disappointed myself. Not anybody, just myself. I'd always seen myself, in places, and immediately the thing, and the financial parts, initially in the early stages, I had to live up off people around me.
Okay.
In short, I remember I called a friend one day and I was like, look, I need 2K. And my friend was like, why are you asking me for 2K? You can't need 2K. I'm like, you won't understand. My son's diaper finished. And I was like, okay, so what do we do? And it was late at night. And it wasn't the era of
telephone
transfer and all that.
transfers.
That night, I remember I brought in new set of napkins. And that was what we used all night. So for me, it was disappointment also.
In yourself.
In myself.
In yourself.
Not disappointing any other person, but me. Yes. So I locked up.
So when you had your son, and then because again, like you've mentioned here, your son is 14.
Yes,
and
he's
then
14. Yes.
Okay, is someone with special needs.
Yes.
Did that also aggravate the feelings for you, aside the fact that you wake up every day and you're glad that at least you have your son as your companion?
Yes.
But the fact that he needed special attention, he needed special care, and you, as a single mom who was going through all of this all by yourself, did that also affect your mental status? Did it also further push you away from people and from reality?
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, like I said, my son has cerebral palsy. You know, so you can imagine. So the early stages, it wasn't, to some people, it wasn't presentable. You know, I remember we went out to, I think it was a family gathering, and the next person to me was like, control this child now, he's making noise.
Wow.
You know, the control part was, you control a dog, not a child.
Exactly.
You know, so you know those words.
Words.
So those things made me to stop socializing or, you know, yes. So because we need those things, my son didn't walk until he was 8. He didn't talk until he was 8. You know, so those things made me remove myself
From public life.
Yes.
Support system is also very key.
Oh, yes.
And then because again, you had to go back home, and then there are cases where some other single mom or some other single persons may not have that family to
Yes,
go back
to, yes.
or you know that space to feel loved.
Yes.
Let's talk about the role of family and the support system.
My mom, I appreciate my mom for it. I'm sure she was a bit disappointed too, but my family opened hands. They took me back.
You.
You know, she cared for the child and all that. My brothers, I'm the only girl.
Uh-oh.
So I have the love of my 3 brothers.
Wow.
I have some cousins, you know. Then I lost an uncle on Saturday, the greatest person in my life.
Oh, wow.
I lost him last Saturday, and I remember my uncle would ask me, how is the formula? Do you still have this? Do you have this? Do you have, you know, so I had the support of some of my family. Well, some would talk back. In short, they talked.
Even to your face?
Even to my face. I remember a cousin of mine got married, one of my youngest cousins, and some days after the wedding, we had to gather somewhere, and the mom started talking. And I expected one of my cousins to understand me to some extent, because her mom too, you know, was a single mom, and I think I was expecting her to stand up for me.
Okay.
And the 3 of them just laughed, they talked. In short, they mocked me, they boogered me, the Niger way.
And you were there.
And I was there, you know. And at that point, I just noticed that it's quite normal for people to stigmatize you, and, you know. So I needed to brace up myself. Like I tell a lot of my, when I posted this online this morning, a friend of mine was like, I'm going to watch it. I said, why? She said, because you're talking for all of us. You know? So I asked her, do you have anything to chip in that I can talk about? She was like, no, just say it the way it is.
Just say it the way it is. I'm glad that, so it means that there's a community of a lot of women who are in this condition.
Oh, yes.
But we still have a society that is very, very cruel. Permit me to use that word.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And people will blame you for what you didn't necessarily cause by yourself. So how again do you think people can navigate this life? Because sometimes, yes, let's leave this generation that want to get ready for it, because they have an idea of what they want.
Oh, yes.
But for those that are living in your shoes, that didn't plan for it, life just dealt a blow on them, and they have found themselves in this condition, and they are living for themselves, living for their kids, because some have more than one.
Oh, yes.
And they're living in that condition. So how best can you navigate this murky waters?
Okay, the first thing you do is brace yourself up. Don't live in the shadows. Don't come out. One, it's not necessarily your fault.
Right.
I remember my mom told me to beg my baby daddy. She called me one day. I was like, are you sure you won't beg him? You know, and I felt a pain at that point, but the me then would not beg. In short, the me now will still not beg for it. You know, because I've seen cases of married single women. They are married, but they're also
they're
single.
living single.
Yes.
How do you how do you live that?
That's a double disaster. You know, there's some emotional torture happening around these days that you see rings and all that, but
don't be deceived.
So I wouldn't want to be in those shoes. I still like, you know, the so-called freedom I have right now, you know, and I believe that I'm stronger than I look. You know, a lot of people pity me. She's single, she's just, trust me. I'm stronger.
You have overcome.
I've overcome all those, you know. And I never pity myself.
Anymore.
Even then.
Okay.
Even then. The only time you see me, okay, like I was joking this morning, the only time you see me sad or probably worried is during school fees period, you know, that's regular. but I got to school one day and the bossa was telling me, look, okay, I think I was owing 10K, so I needed to beg them. It was the exam period. Please let him do exam. And the woman was like, madam, please go and sit down. We have double. See there, see in the ledger.
The one that your own is small.
You know, so, and I'm like, hey, okay. So I don't. For me, the advice to my kind is, please brace yourself up. Then don't be a toy to the men outside now, because the men around us. There's this philosophy that I have that the older a woman gets, the more vulnerable, the more gullible. Yes, that's the way we are wired as women. They want to settle for anything.
Especially if things haven't been that okay with you.
Okay, you know, so you want to settle for... I won't settle for anything. So I don't do blind dates. I don't do matchmaking. Don't, because you don't know what I want. So don't assume that because I'm single, you want to... don't do that to me. So immediately my friends come up, I have this, I'm not interested. I know,
but don't you want to be with
and don't you want to be with another man?
I want to.
So you have to start from somewhere.
No. No.
You want to find this person yourself.
It's better that way.
Oh, okay.
Because, you see...
But have you dated after that?
Oh. I wish I can praise him. The best man I dated in my life, he passed away. He had cancer. But the best man, a lot of people have told me not to talk about him, but I will.
Wow.
He was there. In short, I didn't notice I was single until after he died.
Wow.
Yes, he gave me everything.
And he loved your son.
More. In short, most times when we broke up, because we broke up before he died, he told me one day, he said, the only reason why I would tolerate your rubbish is because of that boy. He loved me and loved my son more.
Wow.
You know, but unfortunately, he died. So, you know, yes, I want to date. I'm craving it recently, but not because of, you know, anything, but because I just want to.
Okay.
You know, but I don't want people assuming that we need to. That's my problem with it.
Okay.
You know, that we need to. And recently, I was telling someone that because you're a single mother doesn't mean you should always ask whoever you're dating for money. No, walk.
There has to
Try.
be, yeah.
Do something for yourself before, you know. That's
So you're not seen as a leech, or, you know, you're not seen as...
Most times... Recently, somebody was telling me that, you know what we're going through, but I said, no, you don't have to leech on other people. You know, try to be a woman, as in, do things yourself.
Right, so be self-sufficient, self-reliant, and then let the person help, and not you demanding.
I want people to help, yes, but don't make it look as if
it's
you can't do it.
It's your responsibility, right.
You know, there was a joke on TikTok, and the person was like, women, dating is now a financial whatever, you know. The way women made it is irritating. It's very bad.
Right. So part of what you were talking to other women in, you know, who are living as single mom is not to, I mean, you need to live.
Oh, yes.
And then just not assume that because of this condition, then allow this to dictate what you do.
Yes.
Can you also talk about personal growth? Is this also very important?
Okay. how would I quantify myself? I love books a lot. I've been writing a journal for years now.
A journal?
Yes. I pray I finish it.
Because you erase, you come back.
No, the thing is, I've even written like 3.
Wow.
I have one on this parenting issue. I have one on love, and I have one on the challenges my son is. In short, recently I opened an Instagram page, The Warrior's Warrior, for my son. And I can't even remember the last time I went to that page. So that's, for me personally, I would love to go back to school. Another thing I keep telling myself, when I can afford it, I would love to have other degrees. I would love to do that. And I'm also a fashion person, even though I don't sew personally.
But you design?
I design little, So I like a lot of things. I want to do a lot of things. I keep telling myself, wake up, okay. Like I was telling the makeup artist now that I would love to do this myself. I would love to. So I think personally, you need to discover what you want. Work on it. Don't wait for a man to do it for you.
Right. So
don't let a man determine or define your life. Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, we've spoken about the Gen Zs who are preparing themselves
for this.
for this. Why does the society, as at today, even with the Gen Zs thinking, as at today, why does the society still stigmatize or still frown at or still look at single women in a certain way?
Well, I can't really speak for a lot of people, but personally, I feel religion, our culture.
Because they don't give single men that look.
No, they don't.
Or that attitude.
At all. They don't.
They don't.
Yes, I think it's the
patriarchal society.
Yes, I think so. Because a guy was asking me out years back, and I remember him asking me to come sleep over. So I told him, I said it was impromptu. You didn't tell me ahead. And besides, we're still in the talking stage. Why you? The next thing he told me was, you should be happy
that I asked you
that I'm asking you to do this. And I remember I paused, then I continued. I was like, what happened? Why should I be happy? And I was
like you're
I'm
doing me a favor. Right.
No, he told me. He said, I'm doing you a favor. That nobody wants a leftover. No, he told me. Nobody wants a leftover.
In those words.
Yes. And he's a military guy, And immediately he said it. I told him, I said, well, when you're getting me, you're getting a 10 over 10. I know my worth. Anybody that comes to me, I'm not bragging. I know my worth.
Brag, please, brag.
I'm a 10 over 10. As in,
brag.
Like brag.
My brain, you see, when my cousin called me the human Alexa yesterday,
You acknowledged.
Immediately, I screenshot and I put it on my status that, yes, this is somebody that knows me. So you won't date me and still remain the same. It's not possible. My ex that passed, I designed a CV. When he was working, I didn't like the job. I told him, I said, just give me little. And I designed, and I started pushing to different places. That is me. So when you're dating me, you can't remain the same. So he apologized later.
Can I be your friend?
I just knew that.
So my life will not remain the same.
But that's it. So it's not, I'm the type of person that push
others.
From a 15-year-old made my hair yesterday when I knew about the show. I just told her, I said, come and do anything you'd want. Oh. So, I push people to greatness.
To greatness.
You can't be the same.
I like that. So it means that anybody who comes in contact with you definitely knows that, okay, my life will not remain the same.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure those watching this morning are also having that at the back of their minds that what. With your son, sometimes you look at him and, you have any form of regrets that, oh no, perhaps I should never have birthed you.
My son was going to come here today. He likes
so why
TV.
Didn't he come?
He has exams. He has exams. He told me, he was like, who is the woman? I said, somebody I just met. And she did not call me.
Oh my God.
I said, no, it's just for me. He said, so let me see. So I showed him the flyer. I said, can you see a single mom? He said, no, next time you tell them to include me. You know, so, no, we don't have dull moments. I wake up, we dance, we do all sorts, even with his challenges.
Right.
In short, a lot of people have told me to stop posting him.
Why?
Oh, yeah, because of all this.
Because
Someone told me one day that I could be looking for cheap publicity on Facebook and all that. So. No, people are sick.
People are judgmental.
No, they are
cruel.
sick. People are sick. Yes, and you see, as civilized as the world is going, the world is evolving. A lot of people are still stuck up.
Yeah, still stuck up, yeah.
I was on the island, I think last year, and a woman was describing a special needs child. You know, and immediately I was so mad. I just brought out my phone and I was showing her my son's pictures. Said, this fine boy. I said, look at him well. I said, that's the type of person. So she kept quiet and she was looking at me. And I told her, I'm not coming to your shop anymore to buy anything. Yeah, wicked person.
Yeah.
You know, so that's me.
All right. As before
no
we
regrets.
no regrets. I'm glad you did say that, because again, there are some women who, of course, will be in your shoes, have kids with special needs, will lock them inside.
Oh, definitely.
A lot. Lock them inside. Will not be proud to identify with those children. And if you're not proud to identify with them, how then do you want people to appreciate those children? Because you're also doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
By keeping them inside.
Yes.
So, peradventure, there's somebody watching this morning. Maybe this person is not even a single mom, but has a child with special needs. I'd like for you to appeal to the conscience of such people.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm writing a letter to, I hope I can do this, to NECO.
Okay.
The registrar of NECO. You see, when my son was writing Common Entrance, they only prepared for visual impaired people.
Okay.
I don't think we know that we have 1,000
Other
more
special
needs,
right.
you know. My son doesn't write, not because they can't, but because we don't want to stress, you know, him. So I wish there was something more we could do.
Okay.
You see, abroad, even regular children don't write notes. Nigeria was so stereotyped.
We do things the way we've been doing
You know, the way we've been doing it. So I'm making a difference. I keep telling people, my son doesn't write. Every school I take him to, I said, look, don't make him write. He doesn't have to write. And he's an A student.
Wow.
All he needs to do is to
listen.
I'm not a special needs. I don't write. I never used to like writing. So I think there's a disorder for that. You know? So these are things we need to prepare ourselves towards. We have children with dyslexia, you know, so many of those things. So we need to. And as parents, please, the first thing is there is no force or no, what's it called? What do we call them now? No family issue, no witch or wizard doing you.
No village people.
No village people. That's the first step to this thing. I've been to night churches because of my son.
You were looking for deliverance.
I was looking for a miracle. I bought anointing oil of 25K. Pastors telling me, if you don't do this, you know. I've woken up at 3 a.m. to go to a nearby CSC church to give him a bath. 3 a.m., rainy season, cold water. You know, so the way we are wired is so different. And every day I keep fighting with people. Look, this child is not special. This one is not this. Leave this child alone. Leave this alone. You know? So study the child. Know how you can help. I don't believe there is nobody that can be cured. That's me. I don't. There are ways to and don't expect too much.
Right. Okay.
I don't expect, okay, well, I pray the society, by the time he graduates, I pray society
will accept him more.
Would accept him and probably give him a good job and all that, but I won't expect so much,
right.
You know, from...
Conclude your thoughts on what you want. You were
okay, for NECO.
For NECO, yes.
Okay, please, NECO, registrar, if you're listening, I pray you're watching. Can you provide other ways to do exams for our other special needs children?
Okay.
You know, we have autistic children that are very brilliant, but they don't necessarily have to communicate answers. Okay. You know, there are ways you can tell them to point.
Okay, and then
you
do
can,
signs, you know, and all of those
things. You know, we need to train our teachers towards it. And people will say special needs school. No,
They can go to regular schools.
They can go to, inclusive schools, regular schools. Because one thing I noticed, okay, for my son, I know that while he was growing up, he wasn't doing things, he wasn't hitting milestones regularly. And some of his cousins around him then, because he wasn't walking, they would crawl with him.
Oh, wow.
And they were already walking, So I noticed that children do things like that. Yeah. So putting him in a special school might actually make him worse. Right. He might learn, something else. And
it will be on the same milestone as they all.
Exactly. So,
but if you've seen other people.
If you see, so for me, you can encourage them by, putting them, train our teachers, train your teachers, train your examiners and all that.
Okay. All right. Is there anything we haven't, we didn't ask you that you still want to talk about?
Okay. Maybe later to men. Please treat us well.
I mean, go ahead and say that.
Please treat us well. Men. Yes. I know that a lot of these women might not be able to love you the way you want to, Sometimes we focus more on our children, and you can't blame us for doing that because we knew our children before we met you. Yes. So, but, give us, for the good ones though, not the ones that think they're doing us a favor, And to mother-in-laws too.
That's another topic entirely.
Sister-in-law, let them accept, because women marry single men with children.
True.
So why can't men marry
a single
mom?
Part of the society. It's a societal issue.
Yes, I know.
It's a societal issue.
So we're sending letters to them, please.
Don't letters to mom, to men
sister-in-laws,
and mother-in-laws.
And mother-in-laws.
So that they also can be accommodating is very important. We do hope that when next we ask Olayinka to come, what's your son's name?
Oluwakamiye.
Oluwakamiye. That's a powerful name. Okay.
Yes.
Does it say his name like that?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Oluwakamiye. Okay. Oluwakamiye will also be here. I'm sure he will be such a jolly good interview.
Oh, yes.
He
would love TV. He loves
TV.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Olayinka Olejia, for finding time to be here on the program today. We wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, I'm sure that you've enjoyed our conversation today. Sometimes we just need to lay it bare. These things are happening. We can't shy away from these things. It is not everything that we hush and not talk about. We need to also speak about these things. They are happening around us, and we need to continue to ask for support from every member of the society. It is not a one-man's business. We all will do it together. Thank you so much for watching this side of the table. We'll take a quick break. The conversation returns shortly.